Ever wonder why some people get rich while others struggle? It's not luck. It's not inheritance. It's not even hard work. It's mindset. The wealthy think differently about money, and it changes everything. What if I told you that your beliefs about money are keeping you broke? That the safe advice you've been following is actually the path to mediocrity? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why the rich get richer while everyone else falls behind. This isn't about working harder. It's about thinking smarter. Ready to break free from the scarcity trap and start building real wealth? Let's go. It's no secret that the way you think about money shapes your entire financial reality. People with a rich mindset don't just see money as something to spend. They see it as a tool to create more wealth. They're not out there chasing discounts or cutting corners. They're busy looking for opportunities to invest in assets that grow over time. On the flip side, those with a poor mindset often focus on short-term fixes, like buying the cheapest option or avoiding risks altogether. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how you think. And that's where the real game begins. Take this for example. A wealthy individual might skip buying the latest gadget or trendy clothes and instead put that money into stocks, real estate, or even a side hustle. Why? Because they know that assets build wealth while liabilities drain it. Meanwhile, someone with a scarcity mindset might splurge on things that lose value the moment they're purchased, thinking they're treating themselves. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about reprogramming your mind for wealth and seeing the bigger picture. Every dollar you spend is either working for you or against you. Here's the kicker. The rich don't just think differently, they act differently. They're not afraid to take calculated risks, and they don't let subconscious money blocks hold them back. They understand the difference between scarcity and abundance. While the poor mindset clings to what's safe, the wealthy mindset embraces growth, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. And that's the secret sauce, learning to think like a millionaire, even before you have the millions. But here's the thing, this mindset shift doesn't happen overnight, and it's not just about thinking, it's about understanding how the system works. Inflation isn't just some boring economic term. It's the silent thief that's robbing your money of its value every single day. When governments print more money, they flood the system with what's often called bad money. This devalues the currency in your pocket, making everything more expensive over time. But here's the kicker. While the poor and middle class feel the pinch, paying more for groceries, gas, and rent, the rich actually benefit. Why? Because they own assets like real estate, stocks, and commodities that rise in value as inflation climbs. Think about it. If you're holding on to cash, you're losing purchasing power every year. That $100 in your wallet today won't buy you the same amount of goods in 5 years. Meanwhile, someone with a wealth mindset is parking their money in assets that outpace inflation. For instance, instead of saving every penny in a low-interest bank account, they might invest in real estate or gold, things that hold or even increase their value as the dollar weakens. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter with your money. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Inflation isn't just a problem. It's an opportunity, but only if you know how to play the game. The rich understand that money itself is a tool, not the end goal. They don't hoard cash. They use it to acquire assets that grow in value. Meanwhile, those stuck in a scarcity mindset cling to their savings, watching their purchasing power shrink year after year. The question is, are you going to let inflation work against you, or are you going to flip the script and make it work for you? And that's where understanding assets versus liabilities comes into play. Not all spending is created equal. The wealthy know this better than anyone. They focus on acquiring assets, not liabilities. Assets are things that put money in your pocket, like rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, or even intellectual property. Liabilities, on the other hand, are the things that drain your wallet, like car payments, credit card debt, or that shiny new gadget you just had to have. The difference between the rich and the poor often boils down to this. The rich buy assets while the poor buy liabilities, thinking they're assets. Here's a practical example. Imagine two people with $10,000. One spends it on a luxury car down payment, while the other invests it in a rental property or an index fund. The car depreciates the moment it leaves the lot, while the investment grows over time, generating income or increasing in value. This is the essence of a wealth mindset. understanding that every financial decision either moves you closer to financial freedom or further away from it. It's not about how much you spend, it's about what you spend it on. But here's the catch. It's not always easy to tell the difference between an asset and a liability. That's where financial psychology comes in. Many people are stuck in subconscious money blocks, believing that buying expensive things will make them look or feel rich. The truth? Real wealth isn't about appearances. It's about freedom. And freedom comes from owning things that work for you, even while you sleep. Once you start thinking this way, you'll see why the rich hoard assets and avoid liabilities like the plague. And speaking of hoarding, that brings us to an interesting concept called Gresham's Law. Ever heard the phrase, bad money drives out good money? That's Gresham's Law in a nutshell, and it's a game changer when it comes to understanding how wealth works. The idea is simple. When a currency loses value, like fiat money does over time, people tend to hoard valuable assets like gold, silver, or even real estate. Why? Because they know that bad money, like printed cash, will keep losing its purchasing power, while good money, like gold, holds its value or even appreciates. It's a survival instinct for those with a wealth mindset. Think about it. Why do you think so many wealthy people invest in things like gold bars, rare coins, or even Bitcoin? It's not just because they're shiny or trendy. It's because these assets are a hedge against inflation and currency devaluation. Meanwhile, those with a scarcity mindset cling to cash, thinking it's the safest option. But here's the harsh truth. Cash is a liability in a world where governments keep printing more of it. The rich know this, which is why they're always looking for ways to convert their bad money into good money. Here's a real-world example. During times of economic uncertainty, you'll often see a spike in gold prices. Why? Because people are dumping their cash and buying something they trust will hold its value. The same goes for real estate or even collectibles like rare art. The lesson here is clear. If you want to reprogram your mind for wealth, you need to start thinking like the rich. Stop holding on to bad money and start acquiring assets that stand the test of time. And speaking of timeless investments, let's look at some practical examples of how the wealthy put this into action. The wealthy don't just talk about building wealth, they live it. Take gold watches, for example. To someone with a scarcity mindset, it might seem like a flashy, unnecessary expense. But to someone with a wealth mindset, it's an investment. High-end watches from brands like Rolex or Patek Philippe often appreciate in value over time, especially rare or limited edition models. The same goes for rare cars, think vintage Ferraris or Lamborghinis. These aren't just toys. They're assets that can be sold for a profit years down the line. Real estate is another classic example. The rich don't just buy homes to live in, they buy properties that generate income. A rental property, for instance, doesn't just appreciate in value. It also provides monthly cash flow. Even during economic downturns, real estate tends to hold its value better than most other investments. Compare that to someone with a poor mindset who might spend their money on a bigger house they can barely afford, thinking it's a sign of success. The difference? One is an asset, the other is a liability. And let's not forget about commodities like gold and oil. These are tangible assets that have stood the test of time. While fiat currency loses value, commodities often rise in price, especially during inflationary periods. The wealthy understand this, which is why they diversify their portfolios with these kinds of investments. The takeaway? It's not about buying what's trendy or flashy. It's about buying what holds or grows in value. But here's the thing. None of this is taught in traditional schools, which brings us to a major flaw in the education system. Now that you've uncovered the secrets behind the wealth mindset, the real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you keep thinking like the masses, stuck in a cycle of scarcity and fear? Or will you take the first step toward reprogramming your mind for wealth and building the financial freedom you deserve? Remember, it's not about how much money you have right now, it's about how you think, act, and invest in your future. Start small but think big. Maybe it's time to revisit your money beliefs, identify those subconscious money blocks, and replace them with habits that align with abundance. What's one thing you can do today to move closer to a millionaire mindset? Is it reading a book like Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Is it researching assets like real estate or gold? Or maybe it's as simple as deciding to stop spending on liabilities and start investing in your future. The choice is yours, but the time to act is now. If this resonated with you, don't stop here. Share this content with your family and friends, because the more people who understand these principles, the more lives we can change together. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another opportunity to learn, grow, and transform your financial life. Your journey to financial freedom starts with a single decision. So why not make it today? Let's keep building that wealth mindset together.